Ulonkata bati yada tó yẹ kó máa da ifá. Inú tó yẹ kó jẹun, lọ́ fi bí pa. Obatala, ọba takuntakun. Ṣàngó, Èṣù, Ògún, Ọya, Ọ̀ṣun. Ìwọ ló ń bọ̀ nílé. Kí ni ṣẹ̀ṣe tán ṣe nílé yìí o? Ó jẹ́ lọ jára.
Alafia, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I am your host, Orisa Gbemi, and today we are joined by none other than our distinguished community elder, the Olori Baba IFA Karade. Alafia, peace and blessings, Baba. How you doing?
Alafia, my brother. Alafia, I am well. Ni mo wa da. I'm doing very, very well. It's good to be here. It's good to see you. It's good to see everybody on the podcast. You may not think you can be seen, but I'm seeing you. Everybody looking good, looking sharp. All right. And that's peace, man. It's good to be here, brother.
Likewise, man. It seemed like just yesterday, but it was just a couple of days ago. But we back, man. We here now, so we're ready to get this thing cracking. Yes, sir.
That's right. We on a consistent basis.
Hey, that's what it takes, man. In order to get the job done, chipping away at the coal to get to the diamonds.
Yes. All right. Peace, my brother. If I should go on. Karade Nation up here. All right.
Boy, I told what's going on with Ifa Sagoon, the Ashe enforcer. Yeah. So Baba, with that, we both had a similar wavelength in regards to the feminine energy. And so with today being the 5th day of January, we're in 2025, 5 days in, there's a very particular, marvelous, phenomenal, powerful feminine energy that I know as a Iyalo Day, as a royal, regal, very powerful, sensual, feminine presence within our tradition. And I believe that would be none other than Yeye Oun. So being that I like to run with the synchronicities, and today being the 5th, I figure why not, do something to kind of honor and throw some reverence to Yeye Oun, but also, kind of bring the numerical values of her presence into today's, episode with the top 5 ways to appease Ifa and Orisa. So with that, Baba, where do you go? Or I should say, where do we go? The tribe working to get, into the level of, I would say, depths of our ministry, our personal priesthood. Whether you're initiated or not, we all are in our own ministry, in our own personal priesthood. So with that, Baba, what would you say would be, the top 5? Let's start with 1. Ways and strategies for us to honor, revere, and appease the and Ifa, Baba.
Well, what I'm going to do as a suggested methodology, is kind of step beyond the obvious.
Sure.
As usual, because like you say, you know who you're talking to. All right, we're gonna step beyond the obvious because our conversations all through the week, on or should I say, in my little corner of the universe, have all revolved around Oshun. As a matter of fact, I drummed for an Oshun initiate today. And it wasn't like we were, crunching the numbers. It was just like it was just flow with it. All right, on this day we're going to do this. I pull up Oshun in the back, as far as the image and what she represents. And I look, it's the 5th. So even without, do this and do that, there is a greater sense of being open to the way the world flows with the Orisha. And we find this, and what really opened me up to it was studying the Odu Ifa. And specifically Warren Meiji, where Ifa and Oshun and Eshu speak. And there was the passage in there that had as its moral, its theme, its learning statement, proverbially speaking, and it is the world will conjoin with the spirit, and the spirit will conjoin with the world. So it behooves the Isheshe, the Onisheshe, and the Babalawos to pay attention to what's going on in both realms and to see how they merge, how they blend, how they, in essence, over time and perception, become one. There's no difference between the physical and the metaphysical at a certain level. And they may spread apart into other realms, but at certain points we start to say, okay, well, it's the 5th of January over here in this country, but it may not be the 5th in another country. You understand what I'm saying? So it depends on who we are, where we are, what we're doing, and what we are attempting to achieve. And Ifa and the Orisha are very cognizant of that, clearly, because they make their presence known based on our capacity. Even if we don't have the ability at the time, we're working on being better able to decipher the Odu in the world, to see the Orisha in the world, no matter how arduously we strive to reach them in the spirit. At the end of each and every day and the beginning of each and every day, we get up and we coexist with the physical world. You see? So Warren Meiji had a very, very profound impact, on my cognitive breakthroughs. So I'm going to base my responses to how do we best appease, and I use best in quotation marks. How do we best how do we best appease? Okay, what do you think, Baba Orisha Gbemi? You think that's a good place to start?
Absolutely, sir. You know me, I'm out here running the boards and the comments.
Okay.
But absolutely, I agree. That's definitely a good spot to start. And I love the synchronicity in it. Kind of like what you were saying about how you were drumming for the playing the Oshun song for the initiative. Saying like the synchronicity in regards to how you were saying, she was present, with what you were doing throughout the day as well. And like you say, we're always present with Orisha, with spirit and Ifa, because everything is pretty much past, present, and future, all entangled into this synchronicity at all times. But like you said, also with making ourselves present in the moment is to pretty much reveal ourselves, or to, I would say, bring ourselves to the foot of the Orisha, or to the feet of Ifa, or the shrines of Ifa. And speaking of which, I was thinking about OG Say this weekend, because I had a lot of time that I had to kind of dedicate to spending at the shrine, and I feel like the spirit spoke through me, tremendously, to the point where my whole entire shrine room got a whole makeover, and it wasn't nothing premeditated. It wasn't nothing that I just went into the weekend saying, yeah, I'm just going to do a whole makeover. It was. I feel like it was the feminine energy. It was just that energy was on me, and it felt good, and it made me want to create, and it made me want to kind of like organize and structure things in a lot more efficient manner. And when we're talking about that, I feel like we can't really, for me personally, I can't really get a lot accomplished in an orderly or structured way without having some sort of guidance or assistance from the feminine energy. For example, my backdrop for the podcast, like it took me, a little minute, like to finally get the queen to come and help to the store to help me put it together. But it's like, it would not have been what it is now without having that vision from that feminine energy to be able to assist me with putting the picture together that I wanted to see. And I dare to say it goes back to even the whole principles of Ifa, which would be the marriage between the Odu of the the feminine energy to the Babalawo, who is personifying the masculine energy. So it's definitely a relationship and a match made in heaven for sure.
Yes. Oh, my brother, that's profound. I'm going to go out on a limb here and because I'm, accustomed to doing it, okay.
No, that's just what you do.
Just to balance a bit, but people see me out on the limb and they're like, "Oh, here we go." You're gonna fall down and you're gonna hurt himself. What's gonna happen here? But you know what? We're gonna watch him. Okay, we're gonna watch him. Peace and blessings, Oshun Niyi. How you doing? All right. Speaking of Oshun, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying, man. That synchronicity ain't no joke.
Right. But let's look at what you were just saying, man, because that was profound about, the importance of the feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who works in the social area and arena, social worker, okay, working, within the urban community.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to draw on an example that was brought to my attention today,
Mm-hmm.
About the brother was having some concerns, with his lady, and he was like, "You don't do for me, anymore." And the whole thing, and I know she was around him stating that you don't make a turkey sandwich, you don't make me sandwiches anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and you go to work and you got this other guy who you are all kind of wrapped up in, but when you come home, you don't have any time for me. Now, this is not new, especially in our community, because we have those stresses and those strains. Okay. And some people may respond with, okay, he can make his own daggone sandwich. Oh, okay. He's, he needs to understand that she's tired too.
Right.
But I took all of this into consideration because of Oshun, the Oshun in me. And it was like, men generally have a hard time expressing those types of energies, And of course, he could make his own turkey sandwich. We can all do for self, okay? But he was missing the love that his wife was putting into the food that he was eating. It's like I'm just going to elaborate on the story because but maybe because of her work schedule, he has to do the fast food thing, or he's not raised or groomed like many of men folk, to be the cook. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a negative sense, but to be the love that goes in the food. You see? So he's trying to state, just by using that term, you don't make turkey sandwiches, and to, first level is like, again, make your own sandwiches. What's wrong with you, brother? Can't you do for yourself? Blah, blah, blah. But it's beyond that. And what Oshun, I feel, was sharing with me at the time is see the emotions in words. Try to see into how people are feeling, not just what they're saying. You understand? So for him to try to reach out to that feminine energy because he needed it, he was missing it. Perhaps the new job or the promotion that she attained. Of course, everybody has to go to work. Okay. But that doesn't mean that a person's not missed. It's, and especially, in this instance, we're talking about the man missing, not the sexual, not even the sensual, just the warmth and the love that he was longing for, So that's how I see Oshun kind of working in our communities and helping to heal, our relationship issues, even if it means, okay, well, we don't live together, but at least we're not domestically violenting each other. At least we're not incarcerating each other. At least we're not hating each other. Perhaps we just come to an understanding that we've come to the end of the road, or we have to readjust. Maybe we can compromise, but in order to compromise, we have to be able to hear each other beyond the words that we speak. And to me, as Omo Oshun, it would be like, yes, this is part of the therapeutic dimension of Orisha. This is part of the next level, beyond the ebos, beyond the divinations, and as we talk about appeasing the Orisha, okay, on certain levels, the ebos and, whatever interpretation of the Odu we have, or whatever interpretation of Ifa that we have, or interpretation of Orisha, but at a certain level, we have to determine how therapeutic is it for our own selves and the worlds that we revolve around and that revolve around us, and also in terms of our communities, and in terms of our nation, in terms of our people. Okay, so I'm going to leave that example there because it was impressed upon me.
Listen, look, I'm here for all the impressions that's being pressed upon you, and all the wisdom that's being squeezed out of it. I'll take it. I'm here for it.
And it's not a negative thing to want from the feminine essence.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, that's real.
The power that comes from the love, the power that comes from the caring, the power that comes from the unification of the many forces that a woman has to bring to the fore. It's just not about the woman, it's the power. No, the woman brings forth the power. She allows the power to be. She is constantly giving birth to the Ashe. She is constantly giving birth to Ashe. She is constantly, every moon, making the Ebo of her body. She is a walking altar, a living Ojubo. So when she brings her essence to it, the man it's fulfilled. We're empty without the women. We're empty without it. Okay? And that doesn't mean, again, we're not talking about it in a physical sense. We're talking about in a spiritual sense, in the sense of essence, in a sense of life. And so when it's not there, like you said about the shrine room, when the queen was there and she made it happen, it was like, boom. You know what I mean? It's like, yes. But with the brother, and it wasn't there, all he could think about, the best way he could express it was, you don't even make me turkey sandwiches anymore. But see, it's not that simple.
Right. A lot more to it.
There's a lot more to it. But we as the priestly, because you did mention that, what do we as the priestly, as the Ifa priests, the ears and the babas, and the upcoming ears and the babas, what level are we going to stay on? Well, I mean, seriously, because that's unfortunately where most of us are.
Yeah. That's facts.
So it's like, look, do we need to have divination on it? Probably not. But do we need to have someone who can listen beyond the words and give elder advice or suggestions and have an open dialogue between the individuals? I would start with that. Like I said, when the lion is chasing you, you don't have to stop for divination. You know what I mean? You need to take care of what the best you can do right then and there. Now you might go for divination later on, but right now, you feel as though your world. Huh?
I said that's the furthest thing away from my mind. I'm trying to get away from that doggone lion. I don't want no parts of it.
Exactly. Now take that line as fear. Take that line as I don't want to be alone. Take that line as I'm about to not lose my woman, but I'm about to lose that feminine essence and energy that that makes me want to get up and go to work, that keeps me moving forward. That is a motivating factor in my life, and all I'm asking for is it's understanding,
Right.
because when you making that turkey sandwich, baby girl, we spending time together. We enjoying, and that's what I need.
Right.
I know you got your job, and and they getting all your energy, but what's happening right here in the home, and what's happening here in the community, what's happening with our kids? You understand what I'm saying? So
Sure.
just hear me, and if you don't agree, then we have to make something happen. But if you hear me, how wrong am I? Really, how wrong am I?
Yeah, that's real.
But see, this is Oshun. This is Ifa. This is the level where, we're treading now. And I truly believe, okay, as I'm out on this limb and the wind's starting to blow a little stronger, I truly believe that this is a way to appease the Orisha.
Sure.
By making it transformational, by helping to heal the psychological traumas that we as a people have had to endure. But that's my first R. I got 5 R's for you family.
Yes, sir. What's them R's, Baba? I'm taking notes.
Okay. Well,
Got the
that's
pen and pad right here.
Okay. Recalibration.
Okay, I got like that.
When you recalibrate, okay, that basically means that you change the way that you do things. You change the way that you think about things. Now, and we can go in a circle, Oshun this and Oshun that, and and Oshun is unconditional and just keep giving her unconditional love. But I came to understand via Oshun whispering in my ear that she is not unconditional. She is not unconditional, not the way that it's connotated, not the way that it's defined. Because if you tell somebody I love you unconditionally, that basically means that whatever you do, I'm going to still love you.
Right.
I mean, would that not be like somebody's first thing? And Oshun is like, nah, we're not going down with the abuse. Nah, we're not going down with, the condescending. Nah, we're not going to be so daggone unconditional that we're going to let harm come to our baby. No, this whole thing about unconditional, you guys need to get off that because it's illogical. It's illogical. It's somebody's translation. It's somebody's definition. It doesn't fit into the Oshun cosmic view of things as she's watching us from within. Okay. Now, what Oshun whispered in my ear some time ago is that, well, since there's seemingly no English or Western European word for what I'm bestowing upon you, let's put it this way, concisely. What I mean by unconditioned, she says, is that you check your mind and step out of its conditioned framework. You become unconditioned by becoming without condition. I'm like, I'm going to ponder this, me, because I feel what you're saying, but there's this monster that is just refusing to submit to it. Because we all want that conditioned mind state. And some of us do want to love unconditionally. We want to be loved unconditionally. We want to just, la-di-la-di-da. But, hey, There's, you know, we our natures are just still too very primal, and our psychological framework is much too frail. You know, we're broken to many degrees. That's why Orisha are here, and that's why Ifa is here, to mend our broken world. Okay,
yes, sir.
so the point is that we step out of the conditioned mindset. We step out of the conditioned mindset, and not, this is how I want it to be. This is how it needs to be because I say so. But no, we're trying to think more freely here. We're trying to think like liberated people, and just take the shackles off of our minds, and perhaps be more understanding, perhaps be more kind, perhaps be more of the transcendental nature as opposed to the earthbound nature. And this is what Oshun is coming to my ear and constantly whispering. Let the people hear this. Stop being conditioned to believe, but open your mind so that you're believed in by we, the Orisha, by we, Ifa, by we of this cosmic realm that is inside of you, yet all beyond you. We are sacred dust, you know? So that's what I talk about, you know, recalibration, brother. You know, rethinking it, not regurgitating it. Oh, well, this is what they said, and this is what they told me no do, and I got to do this, and I got to do that, and Oshun is sensual and sexual, and blah, blah, blah. So let me pour honey all over my body and go out into the world. You know, Oshun is like, take a breath, you know, take a deep breath and start thinking about what you're doing in an expanded sense, and not based on what somebody has told you. Now, in closing, on this aspect, came across a piece, right? The cobra snake was, you know, terrorizing the village, okay? And the people were like, yo, what we gonna do about this? You know what I mean? So they wound up capturing, no, one of the Babalawos came, did a little divination on it, and what we're going to do. And so the Babalawo wound up capturing the snake and had a little talk with him. And it's like, you know, why are you doing what you're doing? You know, people are afraid of you. You're biting people and carrying on. And the Cobra was like, well, yeah, but this is what I do. You know, but the Babalawo said, but you can't keep doing this. Okay, you can't keep going around, you know, poisoning people. So the snake was like, okay, so what we got? So the Babalawo was like, look, according to the Odu, you're not to bite people anymore. Okay? You're not to inject people with your poison anymore. Well, you're done with that.
Right.
So snake was like, oh man, okay. So I'm gonna do this because, you know, I want to appease the Orisha. I want to do what's right, you know?
Right.
It's not like I enjoy doing this, but hey, it's my nature. You know, it's all I know. This is what I know.
Right.
So he stopped biting people. And so then the people started abusing him, start beating him up.
Circle of life, man. Circle of life.
Sticks with him because they're not afraid of him anymore.
Right.
So the snake goes back to the Babalawo and says, look at me, man, I'm all beat up. You know what I mean? But I stayed true to what, you know, what you shared with me. And the old man looked at him and said, you know, I told you not to bite, but I didn't tell you not to hiss. You know, I didn't tell you not to rear up. I didn't tell you not to, you know, stand your ground. I didn't tell you. I just told you not to bite. So when the snake went back out and started hissing again, people were like, "Uh-oh," you know what I mean?
Right.
He's back. You know what I mean? So I draw an analogy to that little folkloric statement, you know, that Etan, that story, to say that Oshun will say to us, look, you know, you can deal with your world, but you don't have to destroy it, you know, and people will attempt to take advantage of you because you're not being chaotic, destructive, aggressive, you know. But what is it doing to you, and what is it doing to the village, as expanded as that word, you know, might be your home, it might be your community, you know what I mean, the nation, the world. The whole thing is, what are you doing about it? Because you are a part of the madness. Step out of your conditioned mindset, but that doesn't mean that you rolling over and letting anything happen to you by anybody, you know, because you do have the power. That snake could still bite. You know what I mean? They didn't remove his teeth. It just told him not to bite. So what kind of, you know, liberating statement does one go through when they recalibrate how they're thinking about something, how they become unconditional within themselves? They check their thought processes, you know? When I see a student walking into my classroom and they sagging, does my conditioned mindset based on social media, the movies and all that say, oh, that here's a problem? Or do I step beyond my conditioned mind and say, yo, what's up, young man? You know? All right. What's going down? Let me talk to you after class. Okay. Class over. Yo, bro, you got a belt? You know, everything all right? You know, because you know, you planning to go somewhere and you can't be walking up into the college and, you know, into the job interview sagging like that. Come on now, you're 17 years old. What's your story? Oh, prof, I don't have a belt. Okay, I got you. So I bring him a belt and give it to him in private. They ain't wore it every day for the rest of the semester. The point is, I stepped out of the conditioned mind frame, you know, and my hiss was, look, I got something for you. I got something that's going to protect you. You learn how to, you know, stand your ground. I didn't bite into him. You know, like, what's your problem, boy? That's gang stuff, you know, blah, 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 blah. You see, connecting with the Odu is primary. It's primary, and not just riding on the Odu. Like, I know the Odu. You don't know the Odu. You don't know Jack. Okay. You just, you know, regurgitating. And I say this with no, you know, no malice. But for every place I've been and for every place everybody else has been that comes to me, it's the same vomiting, you know? But the Odu says this and the Odu says that, and do this and do that, and bring me this and bring me that, and give this and give that. What about up here? What about in here? You know? So that's recalibration, brother. If we're going to appease the Orisa at this level and this stage of the game, you know, with an elder present who's not going to be like, yo, go get 5 chickens and we'll be fine. No, we got to change our mindset. You know, that is the Ebo on this plane, not knocking the Ebo on the more physical plane, but that's the physical plane. We can't be all metaphysical and spiritual and blah, blah, blah. And then the first thing we want to do is get something physical and not work at elevating our own consciousness.
Yeah.
So recalibration, that's con. That's one. Okay.
Baba, I wanted to chime in with that because I've been doing a lot of the work to prepare for a lot of the stuff that's coming up in the Institute as well as in the private community. So family, y'all will definitely be getting those videos coming this week, as well as I believe I got a scheduled video, I think this Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, you guys will be getting the link to the Zoom for that. But one of the things that working and putting a lot of time into study, reflecting, ritual, daily devotion, like really just since Tawede, Spirit's been on me like heavy to just put in work at its highest level in regards to going in, traveling within self, within spirit, within Ori, within devotion to the Gungun, to the Orisha, to Ifa, etc. So with that, the topic of sacrifice was a question that was asked excuse me, during one of the devotions. And for me, I have my own theory, or my own I would say opinion on it, based upon what I've learned so far this far in my journey. But I would love to get your opinion on that, and then also after getting your opinion on that, I would love to get your opinion on regards to the levels of offerings, like whether it be OT, Adimu, or Abba sacrifice, or what I mean, cola nut, bitter cola, etc. I want to kind of get your opinion on the tiers of how each offering item ranks in regards to the weight that it holds. So with that, the first part, when it comes to sacrifice, I know one of the sacrifices that matters the most is the actual sacrifice of self, like getting rid of like the things that you just spoke about, working on accomplishing or achieving the goals that we set forth for the day, or for the week, or for the month, or for this year, or trying to get the job that we want, trying to get the position, the promotion, or start the business, whatever the case may be, right? Which one is more important in the process of sacrifice? Is it the sacrifice of self to eliminate the liabilities that we hold on to in our lives, and to strengthen the assets that we either have or that we need to create in our lives? Or is it the life force of the energy from whatever the sacrifice was before it was given to the either Ifa or Orisha? Which one holds the most weight, Baba, if there is one that weighs more than the other?
That's a very, very interesting and profound question, my brother. And I'm going to try to hit the high notes. So I think everyone needs to hold on, okay? Because my responses have a way of bursting eardrums, man. Okay.
Oh man, yes
The
sir.
drums are playing, man.
Yes, sir. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Now, I studied with the Awise. Okay. One day, Abimbola, back in the 80s, and he was a delegate for Ifa coming out of Ilai, and, professor type,
Oh yeah, I got a lot in common.
you know, and his statement to the nations, the Ifa diaspora, was that we're relying too heavily on the physical sacrifices. Because he was noting as his position and elderhood placed him not so much to look down, but to look into the people. And he and I would have conversations about it, and I came to understand, even though I was making elbows at the time, and elbows were being made for me during certain ceremonial times, and but in conclusion, without going through the whole story long, we opted to try to make a change, and more so relegate the physical elbows to the ceremonial, and not to the I'm coming for divination because I want to get this job, or the elbow says you got people who don't like you, so we got to make an elbow, and then you go back 2 weeks later, well, you got more people who don't like you, so you got to make another Ebo. You know what I mean? And it becomes catastrophic in a sense, because every time you go to do it, you become kind of addicted, and you become kind of dependent, and you are put in a position, because you're trusting that, okay, I'm believing that this is having some impact, but yet it's still having an impact. So rather, regardless of what I'm believing, it's still present. And then it's like it keeps becoming, more and more circular.
Mm-hmm.
So the directive as a result became for the priestly to try to learn more about the psychological dynamics, the emotional dynamics, the environmental dynamics, the dietary dynamics. Try to understand how to be the healer via divination. Now, when it comes down to the ceremonial, the initiations, that's another thing. Okay. But as we all know, you can make the elbows during the ceremonial and still be conditioned and still be stuck inside of yourself and still needing, the dependency factor in your life.
Mm-hmm.
With Oshun and the Orisha and Ifa, it's like, we want you to be free.
Right.
How are you going to be a builder if every time you turn around, you give up yourself,
Right.
instead of empowering yourself?
Mm-hmm.
So these are the types of conversations that I've had with the elders, not to mention the elders who initiated me and sent me back as a chief, as a high priest, to say, this is the road, if you will, for those of folks who are into the road thing, but this is your path. I'll put it in a better way.
But real quick, I don't mean to interrupt, but look, this was a new development. I didn't know that. So you were actually crowned in Olori when you went to get your Obatala and Ifa initiation?
Yeah, I got it on tape, man. The second time I went, they said, you are a chief, you are an Oba. You go back and establish your temple, and you bring forth these teachings.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that's how that happened. All this time, I did not know it happened. I did not know that. Wow. Okay.
Well, see, but because of my affinity towards and affiliation with Owarren, it was like, keep yourself in your nature. You're let's say the more of the writer. You understand what I'm saying? The artist who wants to,
right.
Just let me be by myself and let me do what I got to do.
Right.
But and I was never really interested in the positions. I had my Iru carry, I had my fly whisk, and at times when some ceremony was going on, I put on the cloth and walk out royally. Okay. But when it was over, it's like, okay, let me throw down and see what I can do. Let me hook up the mule, because see, I got work to do. I ain't trying to sit up here and be looking all, but that's me. And so I was given that kind of sheltering, if you will, by Ifa. Just to say, well, when your time comes and the situation arises where you can step more out into your bestowing, then so be it. But now just be powerful as Olori Baba IFA Karade.
Wow.
And make all your mistakes, and and when the time comes, you'll know it. And that time, my brother, is now. Because before I wouldn't even tell people too much about it.
Right.
Yeah,
because as much as we talked and have talked over the years, I did not know that.
I didn't put it in OG say or anything, because it's like, I really don't feel as though people are as ready as they say they are for
Yes.
Orisha and involved with Ifa Isheshe.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. 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 Yes.
other systems have got a stranglehold on us,
Mm-hmm.
and we're struggling now because we have a greater sense of freedom and a greater sense of power. You know, and we're kind of tearing away from the syncretism. We're kind of tearing away from, all we did was live in mud huts and drum and dance and all that kind of thing. Like we were thoughtless, mindless, natives.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're misrepresented, we're underrepresented, and we're maliciously represented.
Oh yeah.
And that's why recalibration is first. So it means somebody has to start studying, somebody has to start delivering the wisdom and the knowledge of Ifa, and not just, well, we're just going to keep doing A, B, C, D.
Right.
Well, what about the rest of the alphabet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, that's facts. That's facts.
So then that leads to redetermination. After, any comments, brother? I don't want to go on to,
No, I got you. This is number 2 right here, Baba.
redetermination.
Okay. I'm taking
Yes,
that.
sir.
Okay, so let me write that down real quick. Yeah. No, I appreciate it. That's definitely a dope answer, and like I said, a new tool. I mean, a new tip for me that I never knew about. Like that's brand new news for me. I'm not surprised though, because you and like I said, I give thanks to all my teachers and Ajibonas and godparents and Olori, because everybody is humble and not of the throwing the weight and throwing the statuses, and every one of y'all are crown kings and queens too. But it's like you'll never hear about that because that's not what y'all lead with. Y'all lead with the humanity. Y'all lead with the teaching. Y'all lead with the wisdom, but also I feel like synchronized with the call to action. Like, what are you going to do? You have this information, you have access to this elder, that elder, but what are you going to do with it? And that's the part that I love, because that inspires me to want to, to continue to trek down that same, wavelength and that same frequency, because there's no need for that. Like I remember when I first got back, I was extremely excited about the Olori chieftaincy. But for me, I wholeheartedly can say this, I was more excited about figuring out what can I do to manifest the energy that I felt, seen, heard, smelled, and tasted on the continent during my time there, during my travel there, during my time spending in Oshogbo, in Ejibo, in, you know what I mean, Ile Ife. Like that was more on my mind and my heart than anything, even to the point where I put my consulting business to the side, because Ifa had made such a stronghold on my heart and my spirit and my soul. It's like I have to do something with this. And so that's where I feel like Ashe, that's what Ashe is about. Like literally, because I couldn't come back home after having that profound experience and then just go back to business as usual or life as usual. It was just too profound of an energy exchange between spirit and the continent and my spirit and what is inside of my Ori. And it was a match made in heaven, man. It's like to hear that. I'm not surprised. I'm surprised that I didn't know it, but I'm not surprised that it happened that way and that I'm just now finding out, because that goes back to you being somebody who lets the work speak for you versus you throwing out, the stripes
Right.
and the titles and the obas and you know what I'm saying? Like, so I give a huge respect for that, man. That's dope, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and along with that, we're speaking of Oba, Oba, surgery man, Ibaye. He bestowed me with the chieftaincy title. Oba, Lowo Si Oba.
I remember
Lowo
that
Si Oba. He
one.
said, "You are chief." He looked me in my eyes,
Yes.
and he, everything doesn't have to be 5,000 people and the drums roaring in the background and people kicking up dust. That I'm not saying that that's not good, but what I am saying is that there are different ways.
Mm-hmm.
There
Yep.
are different ways to attain not position, but perspective.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes.
Perspective.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I can be moved by an Orisha to the point of I understand, you know, And somebody else may need 10 divinations. You know, well, this is your Baba, that's your ear, this is your ear, this is your Baba, and go someplace else. This is your ear, this is your Baba. Oh, now they fighting over your head. Blah, 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 blah. And I say, well, if it gets that confusing, then just receive Obatala. You know what I mean? But at some point, you got to stop the running around.
Oh,
you know, the years go by, bank accounts get drained, you know, people putting up their houses and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's like, really? Really? You know, we are trying to pull away from that. That is not Ifa Isheshe.
Right.
That's not only syncretism in terms of, you know, the whole Catholic deities and stuff, but it's also a conditioned state of mind that feeds on fear, that feeds on, you know, a delusional sense of power.
Yeah.
Now I'll say it, a delusional sense of power.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Easy come, easy
now,
go.
Excuse me, brother.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I said easy come, easy go. You know,
Well,
for the people
yes,
drunk on the power, you know, getting drunk on the power of you know, status
yeah,
and titles.
yeah, yeah. You know, be careful what you call on. Be careful what you wish for. You know, but see, when you're dealing with people on the path of wisdom and knowledge, understanding, and working with the spirit of the Orisha, not just the physical form of the Orisha, but getting to the heart and mind and soul of the Orisha. I try to tell people spirits have spirits. They just not our spirits. They have spirits. There's a spiritual component in the ether of thought.
Yes, that's facts.
And once we tap into that, then we'll see change.
Oh yeah.
So people want to be spiritual. Well, I'm just going to give more ebos, you know, and I'm just going to give more. And the Orisha saying, oh, okay, well, at what point does all your giving bring about a transformational move within you? I used to tell people back in the day, man, some people get mad at me. I said, quit hiding behind the Orisha.
Yeah.
Hiding behind the Orisha. You know, quit saying you all about the Orisha, but you know, you still not working on yourself.
Right.
You know, and I don't say that like I don't go through it. You know, taking
we all do.
Yeah.
We all do. You know, we all on the path of growth, of expansion, of elevation, of recalibration. You know what I'm saying? Like working on self, healing self, knowing self. You know, expanding self, elevate. I mean, everything. It's all a process. You know, but it's like I'm telling you, this is like so many synchronized. So I was having another conversation about, you know, how important it is to do the work for yourself, right? And so this is working with someone, you know, during some appeasements of Orisha, and you know, with people that come into this faith, there's a lot of misinformation out there, but there's also a lot of miscommunications in regards to this whole dynamic of Godparent, Godchild relationship. You know, and people who initiate you or who bring you into the faith. And it's like one of the things that I've always, you know, learned on my own through not just trial and error, but just from the process, that nobody's going to teach you like you. Nobody's going to take the time or even have the time to teach you like you. So it's like you got to really, if you really committed to this, be committed to being able to work on self and develop self without putting the blame or the expectations on the Babalawo, the Iyanifa, the godparent, the godmother, you know what I'm saying? Because that's not their full responsibility. Their responsibility is to guide us. Their responsibility is to, you know, kind of give us you know, give us some knowledge and some insight, kind of like what you and our relationship is like. You know, it's there to be as a coach, you know, as a mentor, but not necessarily as a parent, as a savior. You know what I mean? And that's where, you know, I was like, I got to really start making more videos like talking about that, because I was letting people know, like, you can't really expect, you know, to get a call answered every time you call, you know, a godparent. You can't expect to get a text right back every time you call, you know, a godparent or whoever it is, because it's not even just the tradition. I'll use this podcast, for example. Every person that I call or reach out to or text to see about scheduling an interview or scheduling a show together, they don't respond the same day every time, and they don't respond within the same hour every time. Sometimes they don't answer, sometimes they do. You know, you and I, sometimes I get a hold of you, sometimes I can't. Sometimes you hit me right back, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's the next day, sometimes it's later that day. But either way it goes, it's not your responsibility to be there for me every minute I call you. Now it's cool when I can get that, that insight or that access to you, but I can't look at you some type of way and feel some type of way towards you if I can't get a hold of you in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not your job to hold my hand through everything that I do. Like I got to figure some of this stuff out on my own. And then dare I say, I know the way you think. It could be like Orisa Gbemi that I done spent a lot of damn time and hours and that. You got enough to figure it out.
You got the right tools, brother. You know, and go on and do your own, man. You know,
listen, I'm telling you, I can hear your voice sometimes. I swear to God, sometimes if I'm in a tizzy and I can't feel, I'm like, man, damn, okay, well, what would he say or what would he do in this moment? And then I think about it. I'm like, you know what? Okay, and I'll do a workaround and I'm just gonna make it happen. And then later on, if I can get a hold of you, we'll go through it, whatever. But that's a real thing that I really want to kind of share to let people know that we can't, especially the newer people in the tradition, we can't, look at the people who we either look up to or the people that brought us into, the tradition of faith to do all the work. We have to get on the bench and start pushing the bar. And I feel like once we're on the bench pushing the bar, then either the elder, the the Lowo, the Ajibona, whoever, they will come help us lift and spot us. But we got to get down on that bench and we got to push. And even Orisha or Igungun will help to spot and lift it up, because I'm telling you, with that, just not to go all over the place, but when you were speaking about Oba and how he crowned you Oba, it made me think about me putting together, like, I forgot the word I was using, but anyway, kind of like me redecorating my shrine, right? And so his grandson actually is the son of my Ajibona, which is dope, because at one of the last Bembes I went to, he was selling art. So I was like, man, how much you selling this art for? And I forgot what he said the price was. I said, I want to buy it. I said, but I'm only going to buy it if you sign it for me. I said, because, man, I don't know, you might mess around and be the next Picasso or Basquiat or something. So I'm going to buy it. I need that signature, man. I got to make sure this thing is verified and it's stamped, with a, it's authentic. It got its stamp of authenticity. And so he signed it and I bought it. But it was so dope, Baba, because I remember when I finished with the transformation of the shrine, I remember looking at the mothers and looking at all the IJ, and that picture that he painted, it reminds me of to be like the Iyami. So what I did, man, I put it right there on my shrine, right next to the IJ and to the Iyami, and the Gallaudet mask that I have. And I was like, yo, that's dope, because that's a true descendant of the Oba, who was considered to be the progenitor of African American people, bringing the tradition to this soil. So it's like, yo, that was dope, man. And especially to support another Black business, because even though he, probably like 4th or 5th grade, I think he's still a Black entrepreneur who's selling a product and a service. And I wanted to make sure I supported this young king and get an autograph for supporting his work and putting his work, on my shrine, because it's like that energy. That's the spirit of I feel like the IJ. You know what I mean? That's the spirit of the Iyami. Like it's the nurturing and the taking care of children. Is that not what they are big on when it comes to the mothers, Baba?
Shay. Yes, indeed. Okay. And then that seed that you planted in his head, it's something that it'll be like you probably never forget. And see, that's what we're talking about. This is the appeasement of the Orisha. The Orisha for us aren't sky gods. You understand what I'm saying? How we've been conditioned to kind of look at religion and worship and all of that kind of thing. They're not sky gods. They're not affiliated with the angels, quote unquote. But what we have is a recalibration. Okay. And I'm segueing into the next one, but that recalibration also includes the philosophical. And we've been touching on that, and we'll continue to touch on that. Seeing Orunmila, not as an Orisha per se, but more so as a prophet-like figure whose core is that of a philosopher. And now we have to start defining philosophy outside of the Greco-Roman and even outside of the Asian, the Lao Tzu okay, the Confucius, you know, going back to the Greco-Roman, you know, Socrates, Aristotle, and all them. But where are our philosophers? And I'm saying, well, one of them's right there in Yeye Ife, you know, our spiritual capital. Okay. And his name is Arumila. Okay. So why do we not see him? And then we do see him. Why is it that we do not recognize him? You know? So it's like, okay, so we're going to bring the philosophical into the recalibration. Now, the next area is redetermination. And I'm going to go over them, and I'm just going to be brief because, you know, time. Or even if we don't.
Well, no, I said I got you, but we'll be back this week. Trust and believe. We'll be back.
Okay. All right, so even if we don't, so even if we don't get all 5, right?
We're gonna get them all, but either way, and we're still gonna be back later this week too, for sure.
Yes, sir. All right. So number 2 would be redetermination. Who's determining who we are and where we are and what our future potential is? I mean, who's really determining that? I came across some statistics today because, you know, I'm deep into statistics.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it was a question of representation in literature, which then rolls over into media and its various forms. So it was something like in whites, 41%. Books published, 41% are Eurocentric in shape, form, and color. 41%. Okay. Now, when it came down to we of the African essence, the African being, it was 12%. Okay. When it came down to the Asians and the Latinos, it was like 6%. So the question is, okay, the question remains, okay, how does that impact us in respect in regards to the need to redetermine ourselves? Okay? Because everything around us is bombarding us with that 41%. You know, that's damn near half.
Yeah.
Okay. I checked out a flick today. Chilling, checked out a flick. They the series, you know, one of the settings was collegiate. And then the movie was back like early 2000s. Okay. But the Black people were sitting in the back.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And my mind immediately went to, because all the class was in the front, you know, and the lecturer was lecturing and the students were asking questions, but they had like 2 or 3 Black folk sitting up in the back. And that reminded me of like going to the movies when I was being brought up in the South, where we had to go up and sit in the dirty part of the balconies, and the white folks could sit at the bottom where it was nice and clean, and they were right up to the screen. Or, you know, hearing stories about early Black folks getting into colleges. Of course, this is prior to the HBCUs, but also during that time, if you didn't go to an HBCU, you know, would have to sit out in the hallway or not, you know, sit in the class or not be in the classroom. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like the underrepresentation has an impact on the determination of not only the individuals, but the people as a whole. You know, what can we become? What are we determined to be? And how much are we going to strive based on that determination to achieve the goal? You see? So we have to redetermine. That's why I write the books. That's why I lecture from the Ifa Isheshe core. No matter how I dress it up, that's the core. Okay? And that's why I take the hits for it. You know, because I'm determined to bring Ifa and Isheshe up to and beyond the limiting and the condescending and the detrimental, you know, and the Drapetomania. What is Drapetomania? All right. 1815, psychiatrist Dr. Samuel Cartwright says, well, there must be something wrong with those African people when they try to escape. They're having psychological problems. And this way, and it was widely accepted. We must be crazy if we trying to be self-determined. We must be out of our minds. Drapetomania, my people. You know? So this is what we have to deal with. Because, see, this gets projected into the universities. This gets projected into the producers. This gets projected into the white writers. It's like you don't have a determining factor.
Yeah.
We're going to determine where you're going to end up. And where most of us are, unfortunately, illiterate, incarcerated, dead. And if we are the priestly of our people into the African religion, I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
What are we determined to do? Another Ebo, another Bimbe? Okay. You know, all right. So we're having a sleepover, whatever. But we got to go out and get the work done.
Yeah. No, that's real. Yes, sir. No, that's
why I appreciate you, brother. You know, you're doing the writing, you're giving strategies, you're, bringing the podcast, you're doing the work. That's determination. That's a guiding way for people to ascend beyond the constricted and the confined and the imprisoned state of mind and being that we are. 12% we're represented. Picked up a piece on Black superheroes. 1%. It might be up to 2 now with, Black Panther and, 2024, 2025.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you see, but we're at the 1%. So it's not only what the little white kids are seeing, but what are the little brown and Black kids seeing?
Yes. Yes.
And what impact is that having on how they're determining what they're going to become in life?
Yeah. Man, listen, that's a profound statement, Baba, because if you think about it, that not only a shout out to Dr. Washington, but that was the inspiration behind the Black Defender. That was part of the inspiration behind Starseeds, and is definitely the inspiration behind the next series of Starseeds, which is going to be Starseeds Meet the Orisha. And me and Professor Cabo was speaking the other day. I'm gonna throw that little quick promo out. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely have that coming soon. But yeah, and me and Professor Cabo was talking the other day. We're gonna do something together again in the future. But he wanted to talk about the Moors and the color Moor and the Moors before the Moors, because there's such a huge gap and disparity of information that we have in regards to the Moors. You know what I mean? For us to know even where not just the word Moor came from, but the word Moor, the word Black, the word Negro, the word, you know what I'm saying? All of those are all tied to the true beginnings and the progenitors who came before the Moors. And if we don't know that psyche and that history, we're not able to really fulfill what's happening now in regards to who and what we are with these people of melanated descent. So it's like as people of melanated descent, you know what I mean? So it's like that's real, and it goes back to what Malcolm's profound statement about who taught you to hate yourself. And I wasn't going to speak on this, but I'm not gonna get too far off topic. But I did want to share it because I would love to get your thoughts on it, and I'm gonna share mine. But there was I don't know the dude's name, and I'm not gonna say it until I know it for sure. And I hope somebody in the tribe knows. But he a podcaster, I guess. I don't really know much about him, but he a Caucasian dude, and I guess something happened where Kendrick Lamar, the rapper, had made a comment about something, and he went back, I guess, called himself clapping back about, just talking reckless to whatever the verse was on the track. So the dude was saying some profoundly, like sick, nasty, you know what I'm saying, like Sodom and Gomorrah type, sodomizing and all this type of stuff to another man. So I'm like, first of all, you sick, you know what I'm saying? Second of all, it really pissed me off because I was told that there were brothers on the show who was like kikiing and ha and chucking and jiving and cooning with him and not checking him. I'm like, bro, I said, and the conversation was, why would you think they would allow him to talk like that? Well, first and foremost, they're house Negroes, they're coons, first and foremost. They don't know who or what they are. That's first things first. And the second thing is they probably already been sodomized, and unfortunately, they probably been a victim to everything he's talking about for them to be on that stage with him anyways. I said, so with that, they ain't no real field brothers because they don't have no balls, they don't have no spirit, no heart, or no soul to stand up for not just themselves, but for their community and for them families, communities, and their cultures. Because my thing is, I cannot remember his name, but I'm gonna say it when I do. But anyway, he talking reckless like that on that platform, but I don't know that he would say that in the presence of the brother Kendrick, because at the same time, he was talking about how small he is, but yeah, he might be small, but he got, you know what I'm saying, he got that ancestral ashe in him, and ain't nothing small about that. So therefore, it's like the whole conversation went to the effect of people only do and say things around people they're comfortable doing and saying it around. However, everybody ain't gonna let everything slide and let you talk crazy or greasy about somebody like that, especially if it's coming from a racist, you know what I'm saying, like narcissistic, arrogant, you know what I'm saying, Nazi, neo-Nazi type of mindset or mind frame. Because I'm like, bro, you can't talk like that anywhere. You could talk like that some places, but you can't talk like that anywhere, because certain types of things ain't gonna happen with certain types of people. And you talking like that, nah, bro, nah.
That's up, man. But see, all right, go ahead, bro.
I say all that to say that I feel like everything that you mentioned with representation, that's what it boils down to. Collectively as a whole, we don't have enough of it. So we have become conditioned to allowing that type of behavior to take place, in our presence. But I'm not having that. Nah, bro.
We the movers and the shakers, man. We the IFA priests.
Yes, sir.
And we into the spirit of IFA, not just jumping up and down about it.
Right.
And we'll do for our people, for the sake of humanity, Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it, Brother Brown. I appreciate you. I think that's exactly who the dude is that was talking reckless like that. Yeah, he talked like that around people who gonna allow him to. He ain't gonna talk like that around everybody. I hope this gets home.
Yeah. And the last name looks Semitic, man. Were they talking like that about his people in Germany? You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's a clown, man. Moving on.
But yeah, definitely.
Okay. So you can take that down, bro. We good. So the third is reinvent. We need to reinvent ourselves. Through our characters, star seeds, young kings, after we determine that we're not going to take this, put down anymore, and we are pulling from Benin and Edo and Bini and Zimbabwe and the Nubians and the Kemetans. We're pulling from them. We're just not, look at, that on the Black History calendar. It's like, no, we're going in. And we well, how did the merchants work? How did the philosophers work? Everybody wasn't making an elbow every time they had a family problem. Trust me, people, how were they structuring their family and their lives? What was their psychological mind frame? What's going on? How are we going to study this?
Right.
And in the process, how are we going to reinvent ourselves? Because we've been crushed by this society. We've been damaged, since the freaking 1400s. People, oh, well, slavery didn't start for you until 1619. I'm like, are you out of your freaking mind? You know, it started. The oldest European city in this country is down in Florida, St. Augustine. Okay. And now we're talking about the Spanish, and we're talking about South America, we're talking about Brazil, we're talking about freaking African enslaved in 1492 with Columbus, you know. So it's like, what I don't understand where the 1619 thing came from, except from the English speaking people. Like, they want to glorify the first time they brought Africans over to Jamestown, the same James, King James Version, the same James. So it's like, come on, people.
Wait, Baba. When you say the same James, are you talking about the one who allegedly, supposedly authored this Bible that a lot of the people that could get it?
Same one. Same one who also wrote a book about satanic worship. Okay.
Wait a minute. So he worshiping Jesus and the devil at the same time?
Tell you the truth, there ain't too much. There ain't no difference. Because there are studies from the Greek. Now check this out, since you want to go down that.
I didn't want to, but I just that kind of put my mind in a tizzy a bit. Like,
okay, well, I'm going to tizzy it some more. Hold on. Okay. When we started looking at the Greeks having the earliest version of the Biblios, which the book of the sun, okay, we find that Lucifer was the original name from which the Jesus character was based upon. That Jesus was originally called Lucifer, which was the being of the light. In Spanish, Portuguese, luz is light. So Lucifer comes down from, quote unquote, God, and becomes the walker amongst the earth. Now, later on, it was changed, via translations, but from the text of the early Greeks, as far as some studies show. Now, I'm not trying to debate or get it across. I just found it interesting, that there are that those flip sides to what's going on, even down to the whole foreskin thing, where they would burn the foreskin for altars, and God loved the smell of the foreskins taken from the babies. It gets really, really, once people start getting into this kind of thing, it starts to go crazy. And I know this is not. We got. You see what Nkosi wrote?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So here we go. So I guess it's. You understand what I'm saying? I can't. I can't. But back to Ifa, where none of that is happening. Okay. We don't have God killing off all humanity and this and that. Olodumare never asked for blood. You know what I mean?
Right.
That was something that was kind of what everybody was doing around the globe. But even Orumila was like, at a certain point, we're going to stop this. Because back in his day, they were doing humans. And it wasn't until one of his sons or children, some people argue his daughter's son. I'm like, what difference does it make?
Right.
He was like, okay, we're going to check this. But because he was in position, he could check it. Like Shango could check the infanticide of twins. He could check it. He was the king. You see? But back to reinventing ourselves. Okay. So based on all of this kind of knowledge, we are reinventing ourselves. Okay. Who are we? What are we becoming? Well, look at how we dress. Look at what we're talking about. We're not the way that we were brought up. We're not the way that we were made to be.
Mm.
You know, we are reinventing ourselves.
Oh yeah.
That's a powerful statement. When you say, I can reinvent myself. Okay. Then the fourth one, and of course we can, you know, carry on with these 5, you know, through subsequent programs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And going through a period of reformation,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to reform, to change for the better, change diet, change thoughts about longevity. We were talking about Satoshi Negi about obesity in the church, you know, kind of thing. It's a major problem. Diabetes in you know, in sacred places, like if Jesus is going to stop you from getting your leg cut off because you got sugar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was always an old folks thing back where I came from. But when I started teaching in Newark, and I was in middle school, and I had to let kids go to the nurse because they had diabetes, and these kids were like 12 and 13 years old.
That's
It was
crazy.
blowing my mind. I couldn't understand.
That's crazy.
I couldn't. I couldn't. It took me a long time to realize that young people are suffering like old people.
Yes.
And even the old people don't have to suffer, because when you look back at diet and exercise,
The number one thing, diet and exercise.
yes, but we will go get the medicine, but we'll keep doing the same thing. We're not reforming. We're not terraforming, if you want to use it. You know, we're not reshaping the earth inside of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you understand? So here we are, like we go, and I made this analogy, like we're going to keep giving to the Orisha and, you know, swearing out we about E5, but we're still doing the harmful things to ourselves.
Yes. The liability behavior.
What's it called?
Liability behavior.
Yes, as opposed to the asset behaviors, right?
Yeah. It's real.
That's a cool
real.
term, man. I like that.
Because think about it. I appreciate it, Baba. But you know, and that spirit speaking to me. But think about it though. Everything that you're talking about, like everything you're talking about right now, is all based upon the liability behavior. And what I mean by liability behavior is, if you're talking about diabetes, if you're taking on or eating way too much sugary foods, way too many sweets, way too many, you know what I'm saying, dairy products, way too many of all alcohol, way too much, you know what I'm saying, nicotine, cigarette, way too much of any of these attributes, or these, I should say, habits, that's a liability behavior. And that, and I'm gonna share this plug into the workshop training we're having with the journal on Thursday. That's where the I appreciate, I think it was Ifa Sagun was talking about how he liked how the journal began, because it just opened the door, just being blunt, straight up to the point. Like, okay, what negatives are we going to transform and erase and get rid of, and you know, and set up to make positives. But I was telling him, like, bro, that's how my spirit is, because my spirit is very competitive. Like, everything about me is competitive, and not so much in the sense of I'm competing with another person to try to one up them or, you know, outdo them. No, I'm competing for my own personal greatness. So when I'm looking at you, and I'm talking to you, Baba, you telling me about how you got up and you hit nature and you did Tai Chi and you on the row machine doing the rowboat, and you know, wrote about 4-5 books since we started this podcast. Like, that is something like that motivates me to compete. And I'm like, I can't let Baba be running laps around me, you know what I'm saying? And I don't be doing nothing to kind of, you know, compete in a positive way. This is a competition for greatness, to impact the people. So I'm like, I'm looking at what you're doing and the success of it as motivation for me, so I can figure out how can I create that same type of asset habits for me, for myself. Kind of like what we were talking about before we came on air. Like, I'm looking and paying attention to everything that you're doing and you telling me. So it's like I'm using that as fuel and motivation, because I'm not gonna be jealous and hate on you because you got great work or you do great things. No, I'm gonna use that same fuel to spark something in me to make sure that I program myself, I program my systems, my strategies, my opportunities to allow myself to be able to compete at trying to contribute to our people and achieving a level of greatness with my work. Not looking at trying to outdo you. I'm looking at how can I use what I see, what I'm inspired by you, to use to fuel myself, to motivate me to try to be the best and do the best I could do. You know what I mean? I feel like that's where we can determine like the book says, getting rid of and eliminating the liability habits or behaviors or thoughts, and then by manifesting, creating, and crystallizations or actualizing the positive, asset habits, thoughts, and behaviors. You know what I'm saying? And in that way, if you think about that, then you want to eat clean diets, you want to exercise and work out, you want to, eliminate the liability, habits that are causing these health issues. And that's mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. That's in all four major phases of life.
Right. And the people you deal with, the people that you associate with.
Yeah, listen.
All right.
Listen, I came up. There was a phrase that came to me today when I was writing in my journal. It was I don't know if it was like either energy vampire or energy parasite or something like that. I can't remember which way I wrote it. It was like a note that I wrote. Wow, because it's like that's a real thing too. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And fortunately, there are people who sometimes can be a liability in regards to the time that they either demand or the time that they try to extract from you. With them. And that's something that, is extremely, beneficial for us to really take inventory on how we are positioning ourselves with our relationships. And listen, I'm going to be like completely blood raw. I check myself like that with myself. I really got to look at, okay, what are you doing to, put yourself in a situation to allow the time or energy or, vampires or parasites to extract your energy, because nobody can do anything to you, you know what I'm saying, that you don't allow them to do. So where are you in this process of correcting how you're dealing with, that aspect? You need to do your work, in order to like eliminate that opportunity for those, time or energy vampires to be liabilities to you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it really takes a strong, I feel like, sense of self-reflection, but also like you talk about is accountability, and also taking the time to learn how to reinitiate ourselves, to grow and to expand within our processes and our journeys.
Yeah, because it does take time and willpower and strength, to be able to not be seduced, basically.
Oh, yes.
To not be seduced, because see, seduction, it ain't no little flower floating through the air kind of thing. It'll mask itself in a myriad and multitude of ways. And wherever we think we're strong, that's not where it's going. It's going to find out where the weak spot is. But if we survive it, then we close that gap, saying, but this is about the third time now you got me. I ain't gonna be no fourth time.
Listen,
so
social media is one of to me. Like I feel like, man, I remember back when I used to burn hours at a time scrolling on social media. You know what I'm saying? It was like ain't no way. I had to, and it goes back to the mindset. I had to shift the mindset to, if I'm not contributing to that platform, then it's really no need for me to spend more than 5 or 10% of my day on that platform. And even if I am contributing, then I still only need to contribute, be on there within I say about a 5 to 7%. That's just to kind of respond, reply, and then refocus and keep it pushing. Because what happens is, I'm only speaking for me now, but I'm sure other people can relate. But what happens is you find yourself in a time warp where you're just sitting there into this zombie state or this zombie mode, just scrolling along. All the while, you could have started at 7 a.m. and then you look up, it's 9:47 a.m. You know what I'm saying? Like, what did I do? So I look at it like things that I like or things that I'm too easily seduced by. I don't let myself be in those situations. And I'm gonna give you a perfect example: playing John Madden on PlayStation. Like I love playing Madden, like to the point where I can't trust myself to play the game because it's like crack will be to some people, or you know what I'm saying, or like donuts and ice cream and cake and you know what I'm saying, cookies to people who got a sugar addiction, because I just love to play the game, and it goes back to competing. You know what I mean? Like I love all the aspects of the game, the psychological aspect, the playing chess, like plays everything. So it's like I don't allow myself to play it no more because I know I'll waste way too much time playing that doggone games. I just got to keep myself away from it, man.
Yeah, but there's something that you said, man. I'm gonna hit this like real quick, and then I'm gonna go back to reforming.
Okay.
I came across this term that kind of goes right with that liability behavior statement that you said. I want to reinforce that, man, because that's powerful, you know. And I heard people speaking, you know, people like Deion Sanders and, you know, folks who have had great mentors do become great mentors.
Yes.
And so, you know, some noted Black men and women in business. But
Yes, sir.
I keep hearing this term, proximity effect. They're like, be around people, you know, who only you know what they do to you in terms of building your motivational, you know, in terms of getting that certain mindset of I'm going to get this done, you know. And people can call them mentors and, you know, teachers or whatever, but they're like, even if you're not an apprentice, you know what I mean, or you're working with them, but not you know, getting paid and or all that, you know, coming in, but you're working for somebody who got juice and they just exude it. You know what I mean? They're not taking you through the rigors, just being around them.
Yes.
And it's called the proximity effect. And I'm like, well, these people would definitely fall under your asset, you know, pushing the asset behavioral part of us.
Oh yeah.
Because see, many of us don't have proximity people.
Right.
You know, I mean, let's
No, it's
face
real.
it. No,
It's so, and
so
that's why
that's
I love. I'm sorry. No, I was gonna say that's why I love doing the work in like the community, and especially going into schools, because I know you know more than anybody. Like to be able to talk to young brothers who don't have that, and to be able to give them that, it means everything. And I remember, and I'm gonna be short with this, but I remember a young child back in, I think he was like maybe the 5th or 6th grade, but I remember speaking one day at this school, and he made a loud kind of blurted out a loud it was profanity, but it was also like sexually charged, and I had to, like you said, like with the brother DeBell, I had to pull him to the side, and you know, amongst the class, I tell her, hey man, don't ever say anything like that again, especially in school. I was like, because they will kick you out of here, like don't say that. And so you know, after the class, I didn't want to embarrass him, but after the class, I asked him to sit back with me so I could talk to him one-on-one. So I asked him, like, why did you say that? He's like, I don't know. I said, man, you can't say stuff like that. I said, man, listen, I said, you're one of us. I said, first of all, they don't even want you in here anyway. I said, second of all, that's if one of those other little girls would have went and told a teacher what you said, not only could you guys have gotten expelled or, you know, kicked out of the school, you could have went to jail. They probably tried to lock you up and said that was some sort of sexual aggravated assault. You know what I'm saying? I was like, so we got to really chopping it up, Baba. And it was like, it was a beautiful moment because I was able to peel back so many different layers within his psyche and within his mind, you know, based off of his experiences. So all the while, in that short bit of time, I was able to determine that he wanted to be a cop when he grew up, and I asked him what inspired that. And he said, because he hates to see on the news and in the media how cops do bad things to Black people. And it just, I was like, yo, we need more brothers like you. We need more young kings like you. I said, so keep working on that right there. Like that motivation factor that you have of what you want to be when you grow up, keep doing that and try to work on living in that light now. So that way, not only will you, you know, convince yourself of it, you'll be able to like start to impact those people, like you said, the proximity of your classmates. I said, because someone who's like you, you're naturally a leader. I said, other people aren't. I said, so if you're naturally a leader and you know that's what you want to do and be when you grow up, you got to start experiencing and living in that presence now. So that way you have that impact on your classmates and other people that you want to grow up to protect and serve. And so it was just dope, man, to have that intimate moment with him, to, you know, to take what could have been a really rough situation, but turn it into a teaching moment, you know, to kind of hopefully, you know, shed some light into him and really pour something into him to give him the confidence to know that he could do what he wanted to do.
Oh shit. Now, that's powerful, brother. You know, and it goes with the whole reforming. You know, and when you said transforming, and I used the term terraforming, and I'm like, well, what's the common, you know, kind of base word in here, and that's form. You know, what are we molding ourselves to be? Now we can talk about, Olodumare takes the clay and he molds the people, you know, give homage to Obatala, you know, 4 hens, 15 pigeons or whatever. But the whole thing is none of that makes any difference.
Right.
None of that makes any difference. Now we can bring difference to it. Right. Don't get me wrong, you know, but on this level, okay, it's like that forming of us is precisely what you did. That forming of us, when we talk about clay, well, it's clay because clay is malleable. We can't talk about forming a tree, you know what I mean? But clay is ever malleable. It can be shaped. And so what does Obatala really come to represent? Oh, Obatala created human beings. I mean, okay, really? Okay. That's a level of, let's just call it, belief. And remember, belief doesn't care what you believe in. Belief just gets stronger, and it gives certain abilities. And like I wrote in Place of Nights, you know, Baluku tells Amina that belief is a lesser God, you know, seeking ascension. Well, the more people believe in believing, then the more powerful belief gets. You understand? So now we're taking it to another level. We're going to take it beyond belief. We're going to take it into the psychotherapeutical, the psychoevolutional stage, and say, well, if the essence of our being is truly a reality, okay, then there is a force, if you will, that we personify and anthropomorphize as a being that we can connect this force with and say, there is a force that is molding us. There is a greater consciousness, which is a part of our consciousness, that has a transformational ability and capacity right down to the molecular level. And this is what Obatala comes to represent for people who are studying Ifa, not just reading Ifa or regurgitating Ifa, but peeling back the layers so that they see Ifa working to bring about a state of goodness in the world. Ipo Re Re. Now, if we're talking about how to appease the Orisha, and we want to keep giving them lollipops and candy and you know what I mean, and this, that, and the other thing, that's fine on that level. But there are the Orisha of our people. They're the Orisha of a people who have been trafficked and enslaved. They're the Orisha of a people who have been disrupted, whose culture has been virtually destroyed. They're the Orisha of a disjointed people. They're our Orisha. And to say that they just want offerings, or that's all we have to do is give them offerings, is but a fraction of the appeasement. Is but a fraction of the appeasement. How can we not embrace the reality that they want us to grow, that they want us to heal, that they want us to learn, that they want us to resurrect ourselves, which is the last R. They want us to resurrect ourselves from the death of our history, the death of our culture, the death of our lineage, the death of our spirits, our minds, our souls. How could we just dismiss that even as a notion and say, just keep going and making ebos. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And we highlight the people who do that and looking for the, you know, the supernatural when we're missing what we should be doing naturally, and that is raising our babies the best we can. And I mean that in a general sense, you know, and more importantly, raising ourselves the best we can. Now,
Sure.
again, I'm not throwing shade on the ritualists and the Ebo peoples, but there's more to Ifa than that. And so you learn the balance, maybe 30, 70, you know, 20, 80, 60, 40, 50, 50. But we can't dismiss the work that we have to do to appease them on this level.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And not just get all excited every time we see somebody cut their head off or something. And feel as though that's the answer. Okay? It may be part of the answer, whatever fraction, but it's not completely the answer. How can it be? I mean, really, how can it be when you look at the statistics?
Yeah. No, I agree. That's
Yeah,
powerful.
you know,
And I got my notes here.
5, huh? You got your notebook?
Yeah, I had to rewrite it because the first time when you was mentioning I was writing them fast to try not to mess up, but they were so raggedy looking. I'm like, I got to rewrite those. They're a little too raggedy right now. I won't be able to read what I wrote, but I got them now. So I got recalibration, redetermination, reinvention, reform, and resurrection.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I like that. Yes, sir. Real quick, Baba, because I know I gotta get ready to get out of here. But last two quick questions. But I did want to share this because I feel like this will be a reference point into what I'm working on to get going with the community and to also to prepare, you know, the community members to be a part of the institute, which will be making the announcement later this week with the exact date that we'll be, you know, doing the official launch. But we'll definitely have the websites and the email campaigns and the email waiting list and everything will be set up this week for sure. We'll be ready to rock and roll with that. But last two questions, Baba. In order of okay, let's say this way. In regards to daily devotion, right? And the way I've been doing it since I think the 14th or 15th day of Tawede is like it's been on me to like devote every day, like just been, you know, spending a lot of time with devotion. But anyways, with that, what is the proper order for someone coming in regards to if they wanted to, you know, try to do their best to have a sort of system or structure within their daily practice of devotion? So the way I've been doing it is I start out with honoring, you know, giving thanks to the great God in heaven, but then also I will go through like a 4-step program where I honor the Igungun, my ancestors, as well as my Ori. And then from my Ori, I'll go into the whoever Orisha it is for that Ose Orisha day. And then from there, I'll go also honoring Eshu and then honoring the day of the week, whichever day that is, right? So that's what I've been doing. That's been like the tailwind of what kind of just the whole, I guess, 16-day process of Tawede kind of sparked within me. And I've been going, you know, going at it ever since, you know, Tawede. Today, I haven't gotten to it yet. Depending on time, I'm going to see if I can get it in again tonight after we finish here. But I just know that it's made a profound impact on not just my creativity, but I feel like also I really truly believe that that's where this access, or I should say this, yeah, I would say this access, newly found access to the feminine energy, you know, kind of came from. That's what I'm feeling because it's just like I don't remember being like focused and being this clear and being able to see things and do things at a higher level, you know, before starting this process. So it's almost like you were saying, it's almost like a reinitiation of myself, you know, that I've been on the mat these last however many 7-8 days. Since then, it's made a huge impact, you know, positively to me. So like, is that the proper way to do it if we're going based off of? And I know we all take our own journey on path, but if we're going off of trying to create a system or structure, would that be the proper way to appease in regards to the steps, or is there a different way?
I would say this. Okay. There are different people, let's just say a long distance runner, Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that long distance runner is going to train differently than that gymnast.
Mm.
Okay. They're both seeking to achieve. They're both seeking to appease whatever their concept or embracing of divinity is. Okay. Because let's say that person who's the long distance runner is from one of the tribal nations in Kenya, and let's just say she's not Christianized, but let's just say she's Maasai. So they have their own divinity. So she's seeking to appease the divinities as she's progressing, as a long distance runner. And she gives thanks to this divinity. She gives offerings to this divinity. And let's just say that gymnast is from another faith factor altogether, knows nothing about what they're doing over there in Kenya. Let's just say, she's from the US, and maybe not Christian, but indoctrinated. So she gives homage to God and she makes offerings. She says her prayers before the competition. My point is, my brother, is that whatever you determine you're training for, whatever you're setting out to achieve, to be the better Babalawo, to be the better Iya, the better Baba, dare I forget the better Iyanifa, or the better devotee. It's just like, I just want to be an Orisha. Y'all got this priesthood thing. I just want to enjoy the Orisha the best way that I can, Or I'm not even initiated, but I'm into, my culture. I'm into my people. Not everybody in the empire was initiated, in the sense of Orisha. They may have been, rites of passage, okay, that being a given. So when you determine based on your Ori and your way in the world, what it is that you must do, then do it. Okay. What's going on to the right? What's going on to the left? What's going on with people who have different agendas, different goals? Nothing to do with you. Okay. But you're attempting to achieve your goal, to deepen your spirit, if that's your goal, to increase your understanding of life and death, if that's your goal, to empower yourself, to strengthen your spirit so that it moves the flesh. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, kind of thing. All right, well, the spirit is willing to make the flesh stronger if you assist in the process. Can't do it by itself. You got to put that willpower in there. Okay. So what Baba Orisa Gbemi does is going to be different than what Baba IFA Karade does. Okay. And what I do today, I can't promise you I'll be doing the same thing next month in the same way at the same time. But I'm achieving my goal. When I look at me and I say, you moving forward, young man, at 72, you doing all right.
Yes, sir.
So it's like, good people out there, people are listening. Back to redetermining, okay? Because if you just want to fall into the cookie cutter, then, and you find out that you're not fitting, that could be very disruptive. It can be. You're trying to be something that you are personality-wise or even energy-wise not comfortable with. It's not you. Okay? It's like the introvert in the classroom. the teacher could say, well, a little Jason, you know, he's not talking much, but he's always drawing, and you know, he's always coming up with, you know, some little quiet thing to say. I think something's wrong with him. And I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with him. And I had to go through this at school just before the semester break. Say, ain't nothing wrong with that boy. Leave him alone. You're trying to put him in the cookie cutter. You're trying to make him feel that, okay, well, you got to be aggressive and outspoken and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying, well, no, you don't. Because the first thing y'all want to do is start classifying us and doping us up, you know what I mean, to make us fit into some, you know, Western psychological, you know, cookie cutter machine that says you got to do this way. The boy's just introverted. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so instead of trying to understand him, you keep making him feel smaller and smaller. And what does he do? He becomes more and more introverted.
Mm-hmm.
He speaks less and less because you're trying to make him speak more and more.
Yep.
You don't see this. You're trying to get him to do it your way instead of letting him flourish and flow his way.
Yes, sir.
Some of the most introverted people have become the best salespeople because they learn how to listen instead of speaking. Like they say, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Yes, sir.
You understand? So this is the same thing that I bring to our table to say, what you do is what you do. And as long as it's keeping you pure and on the path that you are paving as you walk it, ashe. But if someone else comes along and says, I can't do it that way. That's you know, that's not me. I don't have the time for it. I don't feel like I got to come up with another way. And I'm like, well, go on and come up with another way then. How many stars are out there in the universe? How many suns are out there? I mean, really, you can still shine.
That's so
Come
dope.
on.
I promise you, like that's what my answer was when it came up.
Yes, sir.
Our answers are almost identical. I wish I had mine recorded because I said, well, this is my process, this is my system, but
Right.
my path is different because of my, you know, where I'm at in my journey. You know what I mean? With being a young, you know, Awo and being a Baba Orisha. So it's like I'm in a different phase and a different, you know, aspect of my journey. So that probably is quite a bit much for most people. Hell, it was much for me because I never really done it like that until Tawede. So, but I can't stress how much I feel the impact though. So it's like, no, I'm not even probably going to be able to keep it going on that level for, you know, long term, but I have also figured out a way to kind of replicate the process, but also streamline it. So what I mean by that is I'll probably do it. I'm gonna devote myself to do it every Ose Ifa day, which is tomorrow. So I'm definitely doing it again tomorrow. And then depending on how my schedule is and my workload and all that, whichever days I can do the full, you know, devotion, I will. And the days I don't, I'll do what I've been doing. You know what I mean? Which is still giving thanks, you know, starting with giving thanks, giving honor, giving praise, et cetera, et cetera. And real quick side note, I didn't do that today, which we normally do with the tribe. But tribe, we appreciate y'all. Normally I start out with it, but today we jump right in. But so I want to give a shout out, man, to the tribe for all the new likes, the new subscribers, the new tribe members, new channel members. The numbers are going through the roof, man. We appreciate y'all, family. So I want to make sure that I get that, you know, before we get out of here today. I had to show that love because that's all y'all been doing for us. So we definitely give thanks and we appreciate you. And even the people in the comments, like, those matter. We give thanks. Baba and I talk about that all the time about how much, you know, the feedback helps us because it helps us to tailor the content based upon the needs of the community and the tribe. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, with the 45 plus years that Baba has in the system and the, you know, the tradition, it still doesn't give him the automatic, you know, knowledge of exactly what, you know, needs to be learned or what needs to be taught in order for the vast majority of us to grow, because we're all at different stages and phases of our process. So it's like we can't have the same cookie cutter content for everybody depending on where they're at in their phase. So that's why this is such an ebb and flow and such a, you know, unification of, you know, giving and receiving. And we give thanks for that, because even with the love, you know, that's what gets us fired up and motivated to come out here and do what we do as often and consistent as we do, because we love to make a positive impact. And it's not about ego and status, and y'all already know that, but we just want to give thanks because it really does help us to do what we do, to help contribute to our people.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And like the song say, Ife Khan, one love. Ife, love, Khan, one love. Ife Khan.
I like
You
that.
know, and then that's what I'm going to leave on. It was that one love. Ife Khan, O Khan, one heart. Okay, so we can do this. With the one love, the oneness, and the one heart. The one heart. Okay. And so like Baba IFA Karade is saying, we have so much that we didn't even touch on today that it's like, things aren't in the process of happening. They're like at the E of done. Okay, you're right at the E of done. And I'm excited about it. I got very positive feedback on the Place of Nights Warm Resurrection audiobook.
Yes, sir.
A shout out to Baba IFA Karade for the review that he sent in just today. All right, so we give thanks. All right, the book is making waves. We hit on Abeokuta. Got 2 radio station broadcast commercials coming out of Nigeria. We're doing the work for the diaspora. And in closing, I know that this is appeasement for the Orisha. I know that this is appeasement for Ifa. This is a whole nother plateau. But the higher we go, the higher we realize they are. And we can keep them down at the base level if we want to. That's cool for people who are there. I mean, but to say that that's it, that's a mistake. That's an error. Period. Okay. I try to be, arguably non-argumental. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna argue, not being argued with, because I know my stuff is like, okay, I put the time in to know this for a solid. Okay. So there are different levels, and when we climb those stairs, when we ascend, we start to see from different perspectives. And we start going in. At this point, for me, it's philosophical. At the point for others, it's still at the, the divinatory, and making the ebos, the people come to the Babalaos. But at some point, it's going to be, how is my life transforming? How am I bettering my situations? Because I'm recalibrating, I'm rethinking this, I'm redetermining, I'm going through those 5 R's until I come to the point, like the characters in A Place of Nights, where I'm resurrected. I win the war and I'm resurrected.
Oof, I say, yeah, mic drop. Boom. Yes, sir. Listen, look, I got a couple more I'm gonna throw out there, but I'm definitely not gonna try to get tangled up into that, trying to compete with that. Nope, nah, I'm not here for that today. Nope, I ain't having it. But I did want to give you a shout out, man. Shout out to Baba for doing his thing, making the international tour. You know what I mean? Showing up on the radio stations over in Nigeria. That's dope. I'm looking forward, family. I'll be sharing that on the channel as well. I'll be working on getting that up there. I can tune in and check that out on the Ashe channel. I'll probably upload it hopefully tomorrow. Definitely early this week we'll get that uploaded, as well as the support the book, man. The book is out there. I'll be sharing, the links will definitely be in the show description. But we give thanks, family, for sure. And Baba, I appreciate you as always. And I'm looking forward to what we got brewing up for the people, man. I can't wait to get it cracking, and to the point where even family, I'm gonna be giving away a lot more in regards to like the journal. Like I got a lot more information to share, even like basic stuff with like budgeting or journaling, for personal life, for health, or if you're trying to start a business, or there's just so many different tools that I have that I'm looking forward to just sharing with the family, so we all could build and grow, and make this 9-year, special, make it what it is, manifest it as the transformation of the death of the old and the process of elevation and resurrection, through recalibration and reformation into transformation into the manifestation of this 9 years. So we're gonna make it do what it do, family. Shout out to Yeye Oun, shout out to Yeye Oya, shout out to all the IJ, Yeye Imoja, Obatala, all the feminine energy, the IJ, the Yami, all the queens out there. We give thanks to all the mothers, all the sisters, all the aunts. We give thanks to everybody for the love and support, family. Fellas, we definitely forget you. Shout out to all the warriors out there. Shout out to the Ashe tribe, enforcer Ifa Sagun and Kosi, Mr. Rodriguez, Oshuni, the entire crew. We appreciate all y'all, and we'll see y'all a little bit later this week. And we definitely have another private call this Thursday, family. I'll be sending out the link for that as soon as possible as well. And then Baba will be locking in that VIP call, and we'll be back for another live stream, at least 1 or 2 more this week for sure, family. So we'll see y'all in the next episode. Odabo, please like, share, subscribe, and we are out. Peace.
Ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé sàpò ìyàgbọ́ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo sí ẹni gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́. Forsake not your ancestors and praise your